You've been listening to Fuel for the Soul with John Giftah. We hope you were blessed and inspired to live the life that God has for you. Make sure to subscribe to the John Giftah YouTube channel for regular uploads of sermons, skits, interviews, and more. Follow John Giftah on Instagram for regular inspirational posts. And don't forget to check out the best-selling books written by John Giftah, Who Am I?, which will help you understand your identity, and the latest #1 bestseller, Unveil Your Purpose, helping you discover your purpose and to start walking in it. Make sure to leave a rating and review, and be sure to share it with your friends and loved ones. If you'd like to donate, you can find the PayPal link in the description. And if you'd like to invite John Giftah to speak at your event or to get more details, go to the website at www.johngiftah.com. See you on the next episode of The Fuel for the Soul with John Giftah. God bless you.
I'm just reminded of Joyce Myers talking about this, and she was saying how she was abused sexually by her dad over 200 times, if I'm not wrong. And she was sharing that it was so hard for her to forgive her dad. But at some point, the Lord led her and she did the same. What I'm trying to say here is that some of you are saying, my dad did this to me. He was not there for me. You know, instead of looking at it like this person has been a bad example for me, look at it like, okay, you know, my dad did all these things he shouldn't do. Just look at it as reverse learning and say, my dad taught me what are the things I should not do. Like, he did these things, so now I know I shouldn't do those things. He didn't do those things, so now I know I should do those things. Instead of getting mad, why don't you look at it from that perspective? The things that you have, the experience you have, you know, the things that I've been through affected me so many ways. On my identity, my self-esteem. But you know, God turned it around to a place where I wrote my first book on identity. What you're going through, God can use it for the extension of His kingdom if you would allow Him to. Are you bold enough to allow Him to do it? Or you're saying, no, I'm not. I'm telling you guys, I'm asking you to submit it into the Lord's hands. You will see a difference. Submit it into the Lord's hands. You will see a difference. I know it's not easy to forgive, but when you give it into the Lord's hands, He will help you forgive. He will help you be set free. You know, like this popular statement, unforgiveness is like you drinking poison and expecting the other person to die. Seriously, you'll always live with that feeling of the bitterness can really crouch on you. It can affect your decisions. It can affect your health. It can affect your mental health. It can affect your emotions. It can affect your perspective and attitude over life. It can affect so many things if you allow the unforgiveness to take root. Today, let it be the day you forgive your dad, forgive your loved one, forgive that person who did you wrong. The other day I was watching this TV show. It's a Disney show, kids show called Ali and Austin and Ali actually. So I was watching this show in which one person comes in and she starts sabotaging the other person who's a musician's life. And the other person, for example, let me give the name so that it'll be easy to say. Okay, so this person, random person comes, this girl called Ali. She wants to come and sabotage Ali's life as a musician. So, it's a life lesson to learn here, where you see, she says, don't you remember that you sabotaged my music dreams when I was a kid or something like that? Because Ali and this girl were in some competition when they were kids, and Ali won, and so this girl was angry with Ali for winning, and she thought that she sabotaged her dream of being in the field of music. And so she was sharing, she came up and she said, Don't you remember the day when you sabotaged my dream? And you never forget that in your life. And Hallie was like, I don't even remember that. Okay. In other words, that moment I was reminded of this. You may be thinking of somebody else. I mean, this person had lived her entire life so angry with Ali because, according to her, Ali sabotaged her dream by winning that competition. But Ali was living her life by that process. She was establishing herself as a musician, whereas this person had done nothing but just trying their best to sabotage Ali. So today, my question is, are you in a similar boat where you're just trying to sabotage the lives of people, or trying to give the excuse of, because of them I'm like this, because of them I'm like this? You are using that as an excuse for you to not do anything in your life. Or are you doing something? When you set yourself free by forgiving the other person, you know what happens? You are able to create your life. You're able to live your life to the way God wants you to live. Otherwise, you're spending your entire life doing nothing productive, but only thinking of what you can do to destroy the other person. Am I making sense to you? Right? This and when like that point when she said, "Don't you remember?" The other person doesn't even remember. In other words, what I'm saying is, you may be living your whole life bitter and angry with life, and your decisions, everything is affected because you thinking of somebody else, and you're like, they ruined my life, they ruined my life, they ruined my life. But the other person doesn't even remember you. They are living their life and they're fulfilling their calling, but you are wasting your entire life thinking about that person who doesn't even think of you. What I'm trying to tell you today is, many people are living in this unforgiveness because their entire life, everything is revolving around what somebody did to them many years ago, somebody did to them long time ago. But what I want you to understand is, the other person may not even remember what they did to you. They may not have even been intentional. Like here, Hallie just won the competition. She didn't want to sabotage somebody else's life. It was just that she won the competition. They may not even be intentional. Some of the times you may be angry with your dad, your mom, because they did this to you, did that to you. Maybe if you actually see, they may not have been intentional about doing something. It's just that they went through something. It's just that that's their school of thought. That's just that their attitude, their perspective about that life. Maybe they're trained that way, or whatever it is. Of course, they have not opened their eyes to understand, or maybe it was because they were operating from the wounds they went through. They may not actually be intentional about hurting you. What I'm trying to say is, guys, give room for people to be people. Yes, he's your dad, but he's human too. Yes, she's your mom, but she's human too. Your brother, he's human too. Your pastor, he's human too. Now, I'm not saying that you can give them excuse to live a sinful life, wicked life, trying to, be against you, or to do something against you as an excuse for you to give that, oh fine, you know what, you are my dad, right? So you continue to abuse me. I'm not saying that. I'm okay. But what I'm saying is, whatever happened. You can't change it. You can pray for them, but at the same time, if you really want to be living your life to the fullest, you cannot continue to live a life where you constantly think and meditate on what they did wrong. And I'm telling you honestly, so many times in my life, I had to do what I'm asking you to do, because I would wake up and I would remember the wrongs that people did to me. Anytime anything happens, I would remember, oh, this person did this much to me, this person did this to me. It was constantly be coming to my mind, and that's when I had to do what I'm asking you to do. Every time I remember those thoughts, I immediately say, no, I've already forgiven this person. You know what, I'm not going to let the other person drive my life. God, take control of my thoughts, take control of my emotions, take control of my feelings, take control of my life, and I submit to you everything. And I'm telling you, when you do that, you will see the difference in your life. You will experience the difference. Every time you remember to look at somebody's faults, negatives, just understand they're human too. Okay? I'm not saying that, okay, fine, Joyce May's dad abused her, so it's fine. I'm not saying it's fine. I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is you cannot use that. If Joyce may use that as an excuse to live the rest of her life as a sexual victim or something and not do anything with her life, that's wrong. Today, her life is being a testimony to millions of people around the world. I still remember in 2009, January 15 to 19, she was in Bangalore, India, the place where I'm currently in, and I still remember seeing her at this distance because I was in the front row. So I still remember her, and I was just looking at that, and this person shaking the world for Jesus. She had all the reasons to quit. She had an abusive childhood. She had all the reasons to walk out of her faith. But today, her ministry is bringing so many people to the Lord. I still remember. I mean, even I was there, right, in that crusade, and I was sitting. I was just in the front row, and when they gave the altar call, so many people. I mean, of course, people will say, altar call, Christians. A lot of people simply give, but I'm sure lives are touched. Lives were touched. That was a moment when I saw, the Lord used that ministry in a great way. And you see, all that was connected to someone forgiving their dad, not allowing bitterness to take root.
Do you ever look around and think, wow, the world is a crazy place, and it just seems to get crazier and crazier? Ease your mind and take a break. This is Fuel for the Soul with John Giftah. We're a hub for inspirational Christian sermons, practical keys for Christian living, and Christian discussions and interviews. You'll be inspired to live the life that you were created for. Your host is a top-ranking podcaster, best-selling author, world record holder, aerospace engineer, life coach, evangelist, and founder of John Giftah International. Welcome to Fuel for the Soul with John Giftah.
If your heart stops beating now, do you know where you're going? If you came face to face with death now, do you know where you're going? And this is not a message of condemnation. This is a message of hope. There is a God who loves you so much. He sent His only Son, Jesus Christ, to come down and pay a heavy price by shedding every drop of His blood on the cross. Thank you for dying for my sins. When you believe in Him, you have free gift of salvation for you that assures us that we will go to heaven when we die instead of suffering in hell forever. I just encourage you today to make the simple step of faith and say, Jesus, I thank you for what you did on the cross. Thank you for giving me this gift of eternal life.